My name is Mike Tholfsen, and I work on the Microsoft Education team. And welcome to the February 2024 What's New in EDU. We got a jam-packed agenda, lots of fun stuff here. So I'm just going to get us going. And first off, if you've never seen or downloaded or played with the incredible guides from Miss Aird and My Expert, these are awesome PDF quick guides for a bunch of our products. They're fun, they're colorful. Highly recommend that you download those and play with those. Maybe someone could also just post that link in the chat so people can get at it. You can click live links on the screen as well, which is kind of cool. So PowerPoint Live lets you click those links. We're going to start off with AI in education. So big year in 2023, tons of AI updates. It was all over the news in education. If you're a fan of Ron Burgundy from Anchorman, if AI were Ron Burgundy, AI would say, I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal. And so AI is a big deal right now. Lots of good stuff going on. And Microsoft has partnered with OpenAI. If you haven't heard of OpenAI, they're the leading sort of AI model creation company on the planet right now. Large language models, text to image with DALL-E 3. We have a deep partnership with OpenAI and we work with them. We've got lots of research in this space, responsible AI, which I'll talk about, and we get access to all the leading models that OpenAI has been putting out, as well as some of the things that we're working on ourselves. And in terms of responsible AI, these are our principles. We surveyed educators globally, and the number one thing they care about in the top of the survey is responsible AI. So fairness, reliability, safety, inclusiveness, transparency. Everything that we do and all the capabilities you'll see today are grounded in responsible AI, and it goes into everything we do, internal processes, how we work with schools and students, and just AI in general. Now, when we talk about Microsoft Education and AI, you've got Copilot, which I'll show briefly today. We've got Copilot for Microsoft 365, which I'll also talk about and show briefly. There's some core experiences that our team builds, Microsoft Education builds as well around AI. The one we won't talk about is this one here, which is Azure and Copilot that you can design yourself. So the idea is you can take all your school data, for example, and design your own Copilot with Azure. We're not going to cover that today, but it's actually something that schools that are interested can dig into. So moving to Microsoft Copilot, what is that? Well, Microsoft Copilot is grounded on GPT-4 Turbo. So what that translates to is the top AI model in the world. That's OpenAI creates that. And also DALL-E 3 for images. So that's some of the top image creation. It's also very transparent about sources. So ChatGPT doesn't always give you sources and citations. Copilot does. There's no knowledge cutoff either. That means that some models are ending on, let's say, September 2021 is the latest updates they have. What we have is no knowledge cutoff. So our index is always up to date. And we have commercial data protection. So we'll talk about that when you sign in with a school ID, safe, secure, we don't train on your data. And Copilot shows up in many places. It's on a straight up website, so copilot.microsoft.com, which I'll show. It's an Edge, which I'll show. Copilot Mobile, Windows, and also Bing. So Copilot shows up in a bunch of different places. And also Copilot's now available for higher ed students or just students 18 and older for commercial data protection. So if you sign in with your school ID, there's a way for higher ed. It's not on by default, but you can enable this. And so 18 and above can now use Copilot. And again, that is free GPT-4 and free DALL-E 3. If you get ChatGPT, you have to get ChatGPT Plus, which is $20 a month to get free GPT-4, or not free, to pay for GPT-4 and DALL-E 3. Copilot's free. So what is Copilot? If you have not yet gone to this URL, go to copilot.microsoft.com and you can sign in with your faculty account. So I'm signing in at the top with my account. You can see it's protected. So this is compliant and protected data. This is not public. We don't share the prompts. When you sign in as an educator, you get a bunch of custom prompts to start with if you want to play around. You also can choose your conversation style. So more precise, balanced mode. And if you go to creative mode on the left, that is the free GPT-4. So down at the bottom, you can put in your prompt and say, please create a lesson plan about the history of Stonehenge and tailor it towards a 9th grade history class. And you can add the learning objectives. So it's going to spit this out, and here's my lesson plan example. And if you go to the top, it shows those are the lesson objectives. You also have sourcing and citing. So here at the sourcing, I can hover and see the URL where it came from. Those sources are down at the bottom, so it cites everything it does. Now I might say, hey, take all the different theories about Stonehenge and put them into a table. It's kind of handy. Lots of theories about Stonehenge, aliens, druids, could be King Arthur and Merlin, like no one knows exactly. So here's a table of all the different theories about Stonehenge. There's an image, but there's also an Excel icon. If I click that, it creates an Excel file and immediately pops it into Excel like that. So it's just a handy integration. Now I can also create images with DALL-E 3. So I say, can you create a photorealistic image of Stonehenge and integrate Merlin from their Arthurian legend? And DALL-E 3 is going to spit out a few different images. So there's some images. I'm going to open up this one here. There's our buddy Merlin hanging out at Stonehenge on a nice sort of sunny and cloudy day. And if I want to start over and sweep this all away, I just click new topic in the lower left and it wipes it and I'm ready to start again. Now moving to Edge. The Edge browser also has Copilot built in. So here's a big PDF because Edge has a PDF reader, 30 pages. In the upper right there, I click Copilot and it opens this up. So now I can set my different modes. I can say, hey, read a summary and pull out the top most important aspects of the PDF. Copilot does that. I can go here and choose any web page. Same thing. I can ask Copilot to summarize any web page. Right there, please summarize it. There's other things you can do. But in this case, we're going to keep it simple. And it's going to summarize that web page, and it's going to cite and source where it pulled out the information specifically in that web page. So it's like having a nice little research assistant right there in Edge. We also have Copilot on the phone. Most people I know don't even know about this. So if you go to the App Store, you can get iOS or Android, free Copilot, free GPT-4. So here we go. I can even tap the little switch on that says use GPT-4. I've got full-scale, high-grade AI right here. So help me design a lesson plan about the Cold War and focuses on the causes. Just like you saw in the browser, it cites everything, it sources everything on your phone, generate an image. It shows the United States fused with the former Soviet Union with DALL-E 3. It spits out some nice images. So all those same types of things that you saw in the browser also work on a phone. And this is all free. And the last one is Windows 11 also has Copilot built in. So the new Windows 11, I go down and let's say I launch Word. I'm doing some research for different lesson plan ideas. There's a Copilot button there. If I click Copilot, it opens it up on the right-hand pane, just like you kind of saw in Edge. I can say, hey, help me generate some ideas to brainstorm here. And I can go and it'll do the same thing. So very similar concepts. It spits out a bunch of information. It sources it. I can very easily just click copy and paste that into Word. And now I've got my nice little research assistant. Everything's right there. So I'm just going really fast showing examples, but you get a sense all this is free. It's available in the browser, Windows, mobile phone, and just a straight up Edge button. If you want to go and learn more about this, and this is a clickable link right here, this has been one of our most popular courses, how to do prompting with Copilot, how to use Copilot, responsible AI. All those things are baked in. Moving along to Copilot for M365. Now, previous thing was free. This one is paid. And this one is $30 per month per user. It's available for all educators and faculty right now. And this is brand new. This just became available in education for faculty and staff about a month ago. And so this is taking large language models, your graph data, so email, chats, documents, all your internal network of your Microsoft Office stuff. It shows up in apps like Word and PowerPoint and OneNote and Outlook, and it fuses the web together. And it's all baked in with responsible AI and compliance and security and everything else. So an example of Copilot in Word, here's a lesson plan on Newton's laws of motion that I've been working on. I can go and highlight any paragraph here and have Copilot just rewrite a piece of it. So I go over there, click Copilot and say rewrite. And it'll give me some options. So there's a couple options here of the rewrite. I can choose what I want very easily. Say, you know what, I want to change the tone. I want to make that more concise. I want to make that more casual or imaginative. And it'll give me some examples. So right there, I can choose what I want. And I can say, I'll replace that paragraph with one that is more concise. I can also select any paragraph and say, visualize this as a table. So I can click the little Copilot there. And it'll take out Newton's 3 laws out of that paragraph and make a little nice table. And it pops that in. So some nice simple things there. But I can also open up the chat pane. So in the upper right, there's a Copilot button. In all these apps, you're going to see the little upper right Copilot button there. So I go there, open it up. I can ask questions about the document, summarize the document. So now I can start saying things like, hey, tell me the top 3 concepts in this document. And I can go and get some information. I can source everything just like before. I also have prompt help. So Copilot Labs is where you get lots of examples of how should I best prompt in Word. And there's a bunch of examples on good Word prompts that you can use. Now, if I want to start a new document right here, I can say, help me draft a quiz. And if you do a /, you can point to a different Office document. So now you're going to ingest that document for Newton's laws of motion. Make me a quiz, give me the answers, tailor it towards a 4th grade class, hit go. It's going to go and produce a quiz here based on that document. Now down at the bottom, we want to make this fun, add a little emoji in front of every bullet point with the appropriate sort of tying in, and it makes my quiz questions, has nice little fun emojis. Again, there's many more things you can do. I'm just doing a very quick tour here. And then the last little demo I want to show is in Teams. So you're going to have an AI note taker. So in Teams, if you open up notes, Copilot, during a recorded transcript meeting, AI is going to be your note taker. Delegate note taking to the AI. They'll do it all day long. And so they're taking notes about what's happening, who's talking. You can click the little Copilot button and privately say, hey, can you add something about what Miguel said on customer priorities? It'll insert that right into the notes. Or if you join the meeting late and say to the Copilot, hey, catch me up. Did somebody assign me something? Privately, Copilot will go and help you do that. So just a really quick few examples of that. That's Copilot in M365. And again, this is another course we have. If you want to get all the basics of how to use, what's a large language model? What is DALL-E 3? What's responsible AI? This is another example that's probably our most popular course right now, which is like sort of AI 101. And then finally, before I pass it on to Heidi, if you want it, we've got a whole AI for Educators PowerPoint deck, as well as PowerPoint decks that we just used at the BET conference in London on learning accelerators, reading progress, search progress, speaker progress, Teams for EDU. Tons of great decks. If you want to share, do PD in your own district, go sign up in this forum and we will mail you download links to all of our decks. So I encourage you to do that. And now I'm going to turn it over to Heidi to take us away on learning accelerators. So thanks, everyone.
All right, thanks, Mike. I'm super excited to share about learning accelerators, as you can probably tell from my background. So just before digging in, I'm going to speed through an overview of learning accelerators. It seems like most folks on this chat or on this call are pretty familiar with them. So learning accelerators are a new category of learning tools included with M365 for free that help teachers save time creating, reviewing, and analyzing practice assignments and provide students real-time feedback. So that's across reading, math, well-being, presenting, and digital literacy and research. And I'll drop a link in the chat for where you can find more just after this. So where are we in M365 land? Learning accelerators basically fit in right across this top layer over here. And we'll be focusing on a couple of the foundational ones, reading, as well as well-being with Reflect, and one of our future-ready skills, search, today with the next couple minutes. So some exciting news, Math and Speaker Coach are going into private preview in March. If you're interested, you can sign up at the form that we'll share at the end of this presentation. Rolling into Reading Coach and Progress. So what is the state of the world with reading? So some comprehensive new research has emerged showing that a lot of students are still struggling with post-pandemic learning gaps, notably in reading and math. So in the US, they've recovered just around a quarter of what they lost in the pandemic. It's against that backdrop that closing learning gaps is such a huge point of focus, not just for schools, but for parents. And this is really where AI can be a game changer. The idea is that it could really unlock personal learning at scale. At the core of the Reading Coach effort is basically this vision to build the best of our differentiated reading progress value outside of Teams, to help learners bridge their learning gaps. So it's one of the biggest asks that we've got from educators and parents in the reception towards reading progress so far. But why talk about it when we can show? So I'll move on over to a feature overview, and then we can talk about how you can get started with Reading Coach today.
Reading Coach empowers learners to master reading through independent practice that's personalized, engaging, and moderated. It's available to use in the classroom or at home, as a Windows application, or as a browser-based experience. Meet Avery, a bright 8-year-old in the 2nd grade. She's working on her reading fluency, and her teacher suggests that she use Reading Coach to practice reading for 20 minutes a day. Ms. Coleman trusts the tool because it applies proven fluency techniques, and it's been endorsed by her fellow educators and reading experts. Let's check it out. As soon as Avery launches Reading Coach, she can create her very own stories. Avery loves dogs and tales about space, and today she gets to combine both in her first ever custom story. She picks the reading level that feels right to her. Reading Coach comes up with a one-of-a-kind story of Avery's choosing, all about Rover the dog. Before she starts reading, Avery can make the text more accessible to suit her specific reading needs. For any tricky words, she can check the built-in picture dictionary and hear the pronunciation with the immersive reader.
Curious.
Now she's ready to read the story out loud.
Rover the dog was always curious about the world beyond his backyard.
Once Avery wraps up the first chapter, she gets kudos for her great work. Like Miss Coleman suggested, she then practices the words that were challenging for her. She's coached on each word as she reads them out loud and continues until she gets all of them just right.
Colorful.
Colorful.
Great reading.
Then she gets to choose what Rover does next. She wants to see Rover go stargazing. Behind the scenes, Reading Coach incorporates the words that she struggled with in the last chapter into the new one for ongoing practice. Before she knows it, Avery's read for 20 minutes. She's unlocked a new character to create stories with, an otter. After one last chapter, Avery's done. She sees how long she took to read, the badges she earned, her accuracy, and the words that were challenging for her. She can't wait to create her next story featuring her hard-earned otter. Avery can always return to any story or passage she's read if she'd like to keep going or read them again. Ms. Coleman often asks her class to read passages from the curated leveled library. Sometimes she'll share articles she sources herself, so her students can try them out with the immersive reader. Over time, Avery can see and celebrate her progress. She and her parents can keep track of her reading performance and all the awesome achievements she's earned.
All right, so you saw from the video that really the core of Reading Coach is this marriage between pedagogically sound and expert validated approaches toward practice, as well as the engagement factor that really keeps learners coming back and staying in that loop of personalized learning. So you can try it out today at coach.microsoft.com by logging in with a personal Microsoft account. And you can also, if you prefer a native app experience, get it from the Windows Store. And it'll be available on third-party learning management systems come the spring. So I mentioned that you can get started today at coach.microsoft.com. And you can also stay tuned for the latest updates at the link here for the Reading Coach educator community. That's also where you'll hear first about when you're able to enable logins via school emails through your IT admin. So please stay tuned there. Exciting new update for reading progress. So one of the most asked for features that we've had revolves around students who are recording themselves reading with background noise, whether it's at home or in class. So now teachers can go in and enable noise suppression when they have recordings uploaded by their students. And now I'll pass it over to Emma. I'm just too excited to hear about Search Coach.
Thanks, Heidi. Hey, everyone. Thanks for sharing your morning, afternoon, or evening with us, depending on where you are in the world. Oh, I need to take control before I can change the slides. Give me one moment. Can we all see the Search Coach slide? Looks like it. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to tell you about a few quick things in Search Coach and Search Progress, and then because our our Reflect colleagues are likely asleep at the moment, I'm going to take you through some Reflect features as well. So for Search Coach and Progress, the first thing to talk about is customizing the domain buttons. So this was highly requested from our educators from all around the world who said that the common US domains buttons were not doing the job for them. They didn't highlight the domains that were relevant in their areas. And so we listened and made those changes. So now any educator can edit in class settings in Search Coach in order to change their domains to ones that fit in their locales. So you can see I can hit the edit button here, and something that used to say .edu, that's our default in the States, now says .ac.uk, so colleges and universities in the UK. Now this can happen for anywhere else in the world as well. Whichever top-level institutional domains matter most to you and your class, you can now reflect directly in the app for easy access for your students. In Search Progress, we're super excited to announce citation or reference lists. So you can add this in your customizing of the assignment for Search Progress. You can change references on or off. Right now it's just APA 7, but let us know. We've heard MLA is high on the list of requests and other reference formats to come. You can see in the student experience here, I can add a reference, fill out all those details, and then when it's time at the end of my source summary to then export my work, I can copy it as a list of sources formatted in that APA 7 format. So that's a really exciting way for you to take your Search Progress work and bring it into your essays or your presentations in the future. Moving on to Reflect, some very exciting announcements here. And the first is that Reflect is now available in LMSs for free. And so this is a very, very exciting development. You can go to reflect.ms to learn more. This is Reflect now working with I believe any learning management system that supports the LTI standards. Super duper exciting news there. We also have some updated trends dashboards that we can share. Here you can see on an individual student and a class level how different types of emotions are trending over time, yet another way to better access the emotions of your class and customize your instruction accordingly. Also very excited to announce the Calm content partnership. So there's a meditation style of Brain Break in Reflect Now, and that includes content from Calm, which is one of the leading mental health apps. So another very exciting development in Reflect, and it keeps going. We have Feelings Monster video meditations. I personally love these, so they really are for folks of all ages, designed for learners, supported by research. The Reflect team's been working really closely with researchers and academics to make sure that whatever we're bringing here is grounded in the solid research foundation. We also have podcasts, which is another really wonderful opportunity for students to learn more about different emotions. This is also available as a brain break on Reflect Now. These are short little podcasts, 3 to 5 minutes, I believe, per emotion. Yet another way to learn about how you might better increase your own emotional vocabulary. Coming soon as well, we're very excited to announce Reflect Compass. So this is something based in research that gives educators suggestions for what to do with the insights that they get from a Reflect check-in. So we'll get all sorts of different information from our students, and now we're able to provide evidence-based strategies for educators to enhance the well-being and engagement and sense of belonging of their class. So here's an example of the flow. You're going to get more access to this once it's released around the world down the line. But another very exciting partnership with Reflect and researchers from the Stanford Graduate School of Education in order to bring these research-based features into the classroom to support social and emotional learning. So very, very exciting well-being tool developments in Reflect. Moving along to Microsoft Teams, I believe I'm handing it back to Samantha.
And here we go. I'm excited to talk to you about our latest updates in Microsoft Teams. So first is classwork reuse. This was our number one request in the classwork app, which is all about organizing and creating your curricula. Now you can reuse all your resources, from files to assignments to links that you put in there. And right now in preview, we have OneNote resource reuse in classwork too. So that's coming out very soon. And we've had incredible reception. Please try it out. You can now copy all of your content into new teams. So if you're teaching a new class that is the same subject from a prior year, or you're teaching multiple versions of the same subject, you can really easily reuse all of your content very quickly. So I'll play this GIF really quick to show what that looks like. So here I'm reusing modules from existing. I get to select the class that I want to reuse from. And then I can select all the modules that I want to copy over. And this is going to bring over all of those resources. So I can select all modules or just select the ones that I want. And then I can reuse those modules, which will bring them over into my destination team. And there you have it. They're copying. And there they are. They're all in that new team. So that copies over all the modules, descriptions, and content. Next up, we have Reflect exit tickets in assignment. This is fully globally rolled out. This is a new one that we're so excited about. So now as the educator, you can create a Reflect check-in. So when the student turns in their work like they're doing here, they are prompted to check in how they felt about that work. They get to name their emotions. So if they're feeling good about it, if they're feeling stressed about it, this is super valuable for the educator. Then when the educator is looking at the assignment view, they can see how their students felt. So they can see a together view of all of the reflections, and they can also see each individual student's reflection when they're grading. So in this together view, I can see how all of my students felt about the assignment, which is awesome. And then when I'm grading an individual student's work, I can also see their reflection. So as the educator, maybe if all my students have reflected really negatively, I know I need to do a little bit more review of this topic. Or if all my students are feeling really great, that also gives me really useful data. And we've seen phenomenal reception already, even though this has only been out for a couple weeks. We also have personalized due dates. So now, without changing the due date for the whole class, you can extend the due date for just one student. So this is for, of course, those cases where maybe a student needs a little extra time, or they were sick, or they were out. You have the ability to now update that due date for that student, which is super awesome. So you can have that custom due date for each student depending on their needs. And then I'm here to talk about as well some of the cool new AI features that we're building into the Teams for Education experience. So Mike talked about a lot of the awesome stuff that we're doing with Copilot. We're also doing things to integrate generative AI and those GPT models into our products. And I'm really excited to show that the features that I'm going to be talking about today are all completely free. So I know there was some chatter in the chat about, $30 a month being pricey. That is true, but all the stuff that Mike showed with the Copilot is free for the GPT-4, not the M365 Copilot, but just the normal one. And then these features are also free. So if you use Teams, if you have any Teams for Education license, you will be able to get access to these features, and they're in preview right now. So I have the ability to generate a rubric using AI. So I can select things like the age range, and what I want the rubric to measure. And I can also get AI help generating criteria here. And then I can generate the rubric using AI. Now it's going to generate an entire rubric here for me. And I can go ahead and attach that to my assignment. I also have the ability to go into each row there, make my manual edits. I can delete things. I can add additional criteria. I can regenerate individual rows. There's a lot of flexibility. Ooh, whoops, sorry, I went back. We have generate assignment instructions as well. This one is so cool. So as I'm starting to type out my assignment, I give it a title, I give it some text. I have all of these AI actions that pop up that help me to create my assignment. So I can add detail, I can add steps, I can add emojis. In this case, I've chosen to expand my instructions a little bit. I can emphasize key concepts as well for my students. So I can bold the things that are most important, which is what's happening here. I can add learning objectives. There's a whole host of tools that we've created to help make it easier for you to create your lessons and create your assignments. And I can choose to keep that. And then that's just added to my assignment, which is awesome. And as you can see, I just completed that by adding learning objectives there. And then the last feature I want to talk about is generating classwork modules with AI. So we're also adding the ability in classwork. This one's not quite in preview yet, but it's coming soon, to add class outline using AI. So you can add your scope of learning, your learning objectives, and get suggested modules. So this is a way to help, get a suggested breakdown of your class. And then you can edit, regenerate those modules, and choose if you want to add them to your class. So making it easy to kind of get that help in creating an initial course outline or draft of what you want to do based on learning objectives, subject, grade level, all of that. We have an admin control that we're releasing that allows admins to disable these Teams AI features. So it's on by default. So by default, when we roll these out, they will be available. But if your school wants to turn them off or doesn't want educators to have access to them, no problem. You can easily turn them off in the Teams Admin Center. And then the last thing I'll talk about is School Connection and the Parent app. So I'll mostly focus on School Connection, which has rolled out relatively recently. But it's an awesome app that gives parents a view into what's happening with their students. So they can add multiple students, even in different districts, as long as they're all using Teams. And it's a way for them to be able to stay engaged with their students' learning journey, so they can see things like grades, upcoming assignments, even things that they might be struggling with in reading progress. They can see what's past due, what needs to happen. So instead of having to log into their student's machine or look over their shoulder, they can keep track of what's going on in their student's class and if there's anything that they need to do to help their students get their work done. You get the at-a-glance assignments and, of course, insights too, so you can see how your students' grades are trending over time, how they're doing on things like reading progress, which is really awesome. And then you can also see grades and feedback from the teacher in the School Connection app, which is huge. So this is also the ability to track how your student or your child is doing over time and see, okay, what kind of feedback are they getting, so you can help them improve moving forward. You can see learning insights as well. So you get trends about your learners' digital activity. As I mentioned, the reading progress, their assignment turn-ins, if they're turning things in late, that's all stuff you have access to with the School Connection app. So guardians do need to sign up as a Teams consumer. It is free, but they can sign up as the Teams consumer on the mobile app using a personal Microsoft account. And as long as that matches the email that's in the SIS, they'll be able to get access to School Connection. So admins do have to enable School Connection for a school by using SDS or the Graph API to bring in parent contact information. That's how we're able to match up, only making sure that the right parents are getting access to the right student information. But when admins turn on School Connection and have all that information synced, then parents are able to sign up and start getting those updates. Yeah, so if you have any questions or feedback, feel free to reach out to the links here. It's not fully available yet. It's only in private preview in Europe. It's fully available everywhere else, but feel free to scan that QR code if you're interested. I believe I'm turning it over to Cory to finish us off.
Hello, everyone. So let me go ahead and move this forward. Oh, not too much far. So yeah, we're excited to announce that in early March, Loop will be included in Microsoft 365 A3 and A5 plans, including student use benefit users. Note that Office 365 A1 customers will still be able to use or create Loop workspaces and pages until June 30th. And then after this, they'll still have access to any existing workspaces and pages, but they'll need to use M365 A3 or A5 license in order to create new ones. The OneNote Windows 10 app is going to reach its end of life in October of 2025. And so to support educators in their transition from the OneNote Windows 10 app to the M365 desktop version, starting this month, the Class Notebook toolbar can be enabled through the desktop app's in-app settings experience. So educators will no longer need to go through the process of downloading and installing the Class Notebook add. This improvement will bring all the features that educators have come to love in the Class Notebook toolbar experience in the Windows 10 app over to the M365 desktop version. And these changes will reach the semi-annual update channel in July. We're also thrilled to announce that OneNote will join the M365 ecosystem of apps that host Loop components. So just as you've seen with Teams, Outlook, and Word, we'll be bringing the ability to add Loop components into your OneNote notebook. You'll be able to create and insert Loop components directly from the Insert menu in OneNote. And these changes just released to M365 insiders. We're also excited to announce that Forms now supports practice mode, which enhances students' learning by offering a new way to review, test, and reinforce their knowledge. In practice mode, questions are displayed one at a time, and students will promptly receive feedback and encouragement after answering each question, which allows for immediate self-paced practice and positive reinforcement. Once students finish the practice, they can recap all the questions along with all the answers. And note that practice mode is currently only available for quizzes. And the Microsoft 365 Admin Center now allows admins to bulk migrate their Google Forms over to Microsoft Forms. And so after migration, users can go to the Forms website and find all of their migrated forms all in one collection. The migrated forms should be almost the same as before the migration and should only require a few minor edits before reuse. And users will be able to view the migrated responses in Excel. So if you're interested in joining any of our active previews that were discussed today, you can scan this QR code, and that link should also be posted in the chat. And just a reminder that we have our upcoming Reimagine event on March 6th, so save the date, and we'll post a link in the chat for that as well.
And we're going to move on to, I'll post the Reimagine link. We're going to move on to Q&A now. So we're going to have open Q&A. I'll just say there are tons of resources in this deck. as well. This is the link to the deck. We'll also post this whole recorded webinar and video on the Microsoft EDU YouTube channel, and you'll also be able to download the deck from there. But if you want to early start, you can download it right now.